Hello, hello. I am here today. I want to tell you about my latest adventure with Claude Code hooks. So I don't know, have you messed with hooks very much yet, Jason?
No, I've been a little scared of hooks. Feels like a little bit of a foot gun. I got to really be serious and know what I'm doing when I get in there. So no, and just haven't had a use case actually for them. So excited to see what you got.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have a healthy fear of hooks too. And actually, like when you're in the Anthropic docs trying to make your hooks, you definitely see like a lot of little warning emojis. So you know to take it serious. And I've had some misadventures with hooks that I'll touch on. So I was very scared for a long time too. But I finally had like a problem where the pain of the problem overcame my fear of the hooks. So I don't know if you've experienced this, but when you're getting into like these more mature Claude Code projects, right? And you're creating all these different subagents, for example, or you're creating all these different slash commands, and they rely on these instruction files. Uh, Myself, and I think like most people, most users are using Claude Code to write these instructions, right? Like I'll ask Claude Code, here's the agent I want, help me write the instructions. And it's kind of like a funny catch 22 because what you really observe is that Claude Code, when it's using these subagents or using these commands, they work so much better if they're short and if they're concise and the important information isn't lost in the middle of them. But when Claude Code creates these files for you, it's like the most verbose thing you've ever seen. Like it like literally like puts its whole life story into these files. It puts 6 different redundant examples. It makes them way too long. And so I've been experiencing that for months, and it was starting to just like really like make me mad. Like I was getting way too over upset whenever Claude Code would write one of these like instruction files, for example, and then I would have to prompt Claude Code to go back and say, okay, like look at these subagent instructions. Can you remove anything that's redundant? Can you remove any examples that are too specific? And I was just doing that prompt all the time, and really like that's a perfect use case for Claude hooks. And what Claude hooks do, let's see. So like in this example, I have one configured just at the project level, but you can do them at your user level globally as well. Hooks match all sorts of different events or like in the Claude Code lifecycle. So for example, like a common one people use is whenever your session with Claude Code ends, you can match the session end here with the matcher, and then Claude can do something. Or in this case, you can also match tool uses. So I have a hook set up here that is for post tool use. You see on line 22. And what it does is it matches the write and edit tool. It's an or condition, write or edit. If Claude uses the write or edit tool in whatever we're doing, after it's done using the tool, it runs this hook automatically. And what the hook does, I made this, like I said, I was really cautious of doing it wrong. So I made this like directly from an example in the Anthropic docs that was designed for people who wanted to use linters, linters to check TypeScript files after Claude edited. The TypeScript file run like a classic TypeScript linter. I modified it just a little bit to match Markdown files instead. And then I basically created this hook that has Claude lint itself and lint its own Markdown file that it just wrote. So you can see here, there's just a condition where it looks for the Markdown suffix. And if the file that we've just used, write or edit on, matches this Markdown suffix, the hook runs this script for me. And this is like really powerful because if you can imagine if you can use like, this is a shell script, but you could use Python script, you could use all sorts of stuff. So you can imagine like there's a million things you could do. But it runs this Markdown optimized script for me, the hook does. And the Markdown optimized script is designed to look at the file path of whatever we just wrote or edited to figure out, like based on these conventions, okay, what kind of Markdown file is it? Like, so it knows if it's in the Claude skills directory, we just edited a Claude skills file. If it's in the agents or commands directory, we just edited a slash command or an agent. And then based on whatever type of Markdown file it is, it runs one of my specialized like optimizer agents here. For example, if it's a slash command or subagent, it knows to use this Claude instruction optimizer. And this subagent will look at whatever file we had just created or updated in the agents file and will basically like tell Claude all the things I would have told it after it was created. Like, so it'll be like, can you make sure you don't have anything repetitive in here? Can you make sure that you have things prioritized correctly, etc. So I have one for agents and subcommands. I have one for Claude skills, and then I have two for other things that are like more niche to this project. But overall, that's like the scheme. And I can show you an example really quick, but like I'll pause here if you have any thoughts or questions.
Yeah, no big questions. I think the one thing I did want to ask is, before we were recording, you were talking about a lesson you had learned about infinite loops with these things, and I think that's the whole foot gun like mental model that pops into my head is I got to make sure I got this thing hooked up right. I don't know if you can share any lessons there around what to watch out for.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, I learned this the hard way. Let me start this command that should hopefully show us an example, and then I'll tell you about infinite loops, my battle stories. Okay, so I have this like demo prompt set up that's gonna have Claude create a new agent for me the same way that I would ask it to create a sub agent. So let's run that for a minute, and while we're waiting for that, let's talk about infinite loops. So a really easy mistake to make, I have found with these Claude hooks, and when I say I've made this mistake the hard way, is it's really easy when you're using your hooks to prompt Claude. It's easy to get yourself in an infinite loop because, for example, like thinking about this use case, like let's say, so I have a hook, right, that is telling Claude, anytime we update one of these Markdown files, I need you to go run this sub agent on it. And then the sub agent is going to update the Markdown file again. And then the hook is going to run again, right? Because now our Markdown file just matched the condition. And so then the sub agent's going to run on it again, and so on and so forth. If you have it designed that way, Claude will just run forever, updating that same file. But what I had, so that's something like I had to kind of problem solve in this use case. And so what I've done is I have Claude, every time it runs one of these optimizer agents, it saves the original version of the file in this archive directory. So like you can see here, we were iterating through like trying to develop this rule tester agent. And so Claude saved the V1 that it started with, and then it edited the agent, and then the script knows to enforce a cooldown period. So Claude can look back at these archives, and Claude can see, oh, okay, we just updated this file less than 5 minutes ago. The cooldown period is 5 minutes. So now I know I'm not going to run the optimizer again because we just ran the optimizer. So you have to like kind of think that like in use cases where you're running a prompt with your hook, you definitely have to think that through. And it's easy to make expensive mistakes for sure.
Right. And it seems like a pretty simple solution, workaround. I don't know, something like what you did there with the Markdown file is just creating like state. And we were joking before this, like I'm starting to do something similar, and I don't know if it's an anti-pattern or if this is just the world we live in, but I need to maintain state to a certain degree in certain projects, but I don't want to and really don't need a database. You know what I mean? Like it's just that first database is an overkill. I know you can create like Postgres and like very simple things, but I don't need it and I don't want it. It's just another attack vector.
Yeah.
I just need to like capture some things, and throwing them into Markdown files seems like a pretty easy way to do that, cheap, also. So
yeah, I think I don't know if it's an anti-pattern or not, but I think a lot of people are doing it, and I'm like same way. I'll do anything to avoid creating Postgres databases, like painful. Yeah, and the other thing that's really cool about this is like powerful here in this workflow is like when you have all these different versions maintained, it's not just a mechanism for reverting, which you could if you needed to, like if the agent took something out you didn't want it to, but it's also really useful for like bigger picture analysis, right? Because like I have these different versions that I've optimized. I can use these to diff, like I could diff the command at this timestamp versus the command now, and I can see exactly what the optimizer agent changed. I could use that to really tune it, etc. So far that's worked pretty well. And then let's see here. So, okay, perfect. So you saw like a minute ago, I ran this example to create this new agent this demo log analyzer subagent. I asked Claude to create this new agent file for me. So it created the new agent file. I had a template ready in the file that was about like exactly 211 lines long. It created the agent for me just like it would if we were really working on a new agent together. And then here you can see after it finished, in this case, I think would have been the right tool creating the new file. After the right tool finished, it ran this post tool use hook, and it knew, okay, I'll use the Claude instructions optimizer agent to optimize the file for token efficiency and clarity. It ran that for a little bit less than 60 seconds, and then it optimized it. It gives you a little report on how it did, and hopefully now like I can go back to enjoying agents and slash commands more, because I won't be just like getting so frustrated when Claude is giving me super long files.
Go lynch yourself, Claude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like check yourself for real. I can't tell you, like it was raising my blood pressure, like because I'm really into the orchestration and the agents and slash commands. It was a big problem. So I'm hoping this hook setup, I think, is going to make a really big difference.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, awesome. I've been curious to see Claude Code skills in action, and or not just the skills, sorry, but the why am I blanking? Hooks.
Yeah, because there's too many things. Claude Code.
I know. It's like, what's the other thing I
remember.
haven't had a chance to play with yet?
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, very interesting stuff, and thanks for sharing, and look forward to talking to you in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Sarah.